Yeah. How old were you when you started getting recognized for skating? How did you start
I think
skating?
the first time anyone actually recognized me out in the wild,
In the wild.
at an arcade. I was at an arcade. I was 14.
In San Diego.
In San Diego, I was 14.
How old are you now?
And, I am 53.
53.
Yeah. So at
you
14,
are tall for your age.
I didn't get tall till I was about 17.
I'm talking about now. You are tall for 53.
Oh, okay.
You are tall.
Am I supposed to shrink?
I don't know.
Anyway,
so
some kid said,
years
"Hey,
old.
you're Tony Hawk," and I was like, "How do you know that?" What are you talking about?
How old were you when you got your first skateboard?
14. Oh no, first skateboard I was 10.
And were your parents into skating? Did your dad skate?
No, my older brother was a surfer, and my dad was in the military. He was in the Navy. He ended up stationed in San Diego. That's how we ended up there. My brother was a surfer, and then during the sort of 70s Dogtown and Z-Boys era, he
That's what
started
I
skating.
saw that documentary on Dogtown and Z-Boys.
So he was that age, and he skated because it was an extension of surfing.
Right.
And then one day I just picked up one of his boards and started using it as transportation.
And so that's how you're getting around town. And then what is
That's how I was getting to school, yeah.
And what is the next step to becoming like? Then do you compete with other kids that are doing that? Or
No, the next step was that my friend was going to the local skate park, and that was a big deal. And I think the age limit for the skate park was 10, and so I just turned 10, and I went with him, and I literally saw people flying out of swimming pools, and it was like I had this epiphany. I want to do that. I don't know, whatever that is. I want to learn how to do it because it looks like the
so.
coolest thing
Dogtown
ever.
and Z-Boys already existed.
Already existed, yeah. It was, yeah.
And they
We're
were
talking about like 78, 79.
And then so you see these people jumping out or dropping in the pools.
Yeah.
And did you have equipment to do that? Did you have pads?
No, I was wearing volleyball pads.
That's what I'm thinking.
Volleyball knee pads. My skateboard was from a swap meet, like on a clearance bin, and
Right.
but I just knew that I wanted to figure out how to do it. Like I wanted to take every step to get there. It wasn't that I was willing to throw caution to the wind, but I definitely wasn't afraid to get hurt to learn how to do these things. And
did you befriend the people that were already there? How did you?
No, I just figured out how to get to the skate park as often as possible.
So you're at the skate park. You have the shitty equipment.
Yeah.
You're 10 years old.
Yeah.
And what is the next step? Do you see?
I convinced my dad to get me a better skateboard. He got me a better skateboard at the swap meet, but more professional looking. And then my brother I believe he was in college at the time, and he would drive. He was in college in Santa Barbara. He would drive down from Santa Barbara and take me to the skate park once a week.
But like even just dropping in. Am I using the right terminology?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't know how to, like if I saw a pool, I would be afraid, like going along the sidewalk and making it your transportation as opposed to trying to do something in a pool.
They had different skill level areas. So they had a beginner's area, they had an intermediate area. And so I kind of worked my way up. And then the advanced area were the deep pools. But they had shallower pools in the other areas. So I figured out how to ride those, how to drop in on those, how to sometimes fly out of them. And then eventually made my way over to the bigger pools. And then once I started to get more confidence, more skills, I started to reach the top of the pools. And I remember vividly the first time I ever actually got out of the pool, and it was like, that was it. I was never stopping.
How old were you when you first got out of the pool?
I think I was 11 or 12.
Wow.
Was that like the turning point from Boney Cock to Tony Hawk? Like, no, I'm serious.
No,
was that like all of a sudden you were?
That name followed me. Actually, I think that name was more created during my skate years.
We're going to use that name on the title of this.
I don't even just mean the name though.
Let's bring it full circle.
I don't even mean the name though. I mean like cool acceptance with like other kids at school and all that kind of stuff.
Skateboarding was the furthest thing from cool you could do in 1980, 81. Because it had already come and gone.
Well, let's stay where you are. You're in 1978. Now you fly out of the pool, and you go, I love this, and I want to be there every minute. So when you're starting, did you ever have a big injury at that time? I would imagine that you get banged up a lot.
Yeah, within my first 6 months of skating, I had a concussion and knocked my front teeth out.
And your parents never said, "Don't do this"?
No, they were concerned. But I was the youngest of 4 siblings, and they had kind of been through so much with my with my older sisters and my older brother, and it was just kind of like whatever kept me busy, just let me go, because I was so I was, remember the 70s, you were diagnosed as hyperactive.
Right.
I was hyperactive. Doesn't mean they're going to do anything for you, but I was just always going. So it was just like whatever keeps him busy and out of the house and happy, let him do that. And so when I did get hurt, they were obviously concerned, but it was the 70s.
And getting your concussion and getting your teeth knocked out, there was never any trepidation of going back tomorrow and jumping on the board.
No, not for me.
So now you get hurt and you're getting in and out of the board. Is your brother also skating alongside
That's
you?
right. And he started to kind of pull away from it because he was graduating. He got a job, and it, like I said, it was just more, it was considered a kid's fad. So I was still a kid.
Okay. So from where is the turning point for when you're just having fun in a park where you say, were you getting recognition or sponsorship? I don't know what is the next step?
Well, it was a very small community at that point. There were only a couple parks still open all over in the U.S. or across the world. And so there were some competitions they would do. They created skate park teams. And so I was on the skate park team in my age division. And then we would go to different skate parks and compete. And you tried to gain points for your park. And then within that first year, I got an actual skateboard sponsor.
Which meant that you just got a free skateboard,
free
or
skateboard.
They didn't pay you anything?
No, there was no money. No.
Okay, so now you got a free skateboard.
Got a free skateboard. I was actually sponsored by Dogtown. That was my first sponsor.
Really?
Yeah, but
Wow.
it was right at the tail end of their success, and little did I know they were going out of business when they chose to sponsor me. And at some point, I wasn't getting skateboards from them. No one was calling me. And then Stacy Peralta, who is the founder of Powell Peralta, the Bones Brigade team, he called me. I remember because I was home in San Diego, and my mom's like, "It's long distance, Stacy Peralta." And he called me and he said, "Hey, Tony, I heard Dogtown went out of business." I didn't know. I guess that's why I'm not getting skateboards.
Right.
And then he said, "I'd like you to come up here to LA and talk about riding for Powell Peralta."
And that's what you did?
Yes.
How old were you?
Yeah, I was 12.
And your mom and dad were okay with having you leave town and
My
go
brother brought me. My brother was still very supportive. So he drove me to Marina Del Rey, which is the sort of epicenter of where the Dogtown Z Boys skated.
Right. With Venice, right?
Well, yeah, I mean Venice, but Marina Del Rey skate park was right under the 90 freeway, and it was like that's
that
where all
still
those
there?
guys. No. But that's where all those guys would skate. So that was sort of the most hardcore epicenter of skateboarding at the time. So I came to Marina and met Stacy, and he said, "Hey, we'd like to sponsor you on the Bones Brigade." And to me, I was a little hesitant because that was the ultimate team, and I was Boney Cock. I was still that skinny kid that was made fun of for the most part for my style. People did not like my style at all.
Is your style considered different?
Well,
than
it was
what
more, and at that time it was more focused on tricks, and it wasn't about flow and speed and power and aerials. It was more like I was doing these little spins and stuff with my skateboard, like I was twirling a baton. So they said I was doing circus tricks, but the fact that I had validation from Stacy Peralta went a long way. So once I got on the Bones Brigade and started to do well in different events, then that narrative changed.
Well, you changed the style, right? Or what people looked for in the whole sport.
There was a technique that I developed that I was made fun of originally that now is the standard way that people do aerials.
So, but when you were young and they were making fun of this style, did you... I'm fascinated that a young kid, but it sucked. But I would think that I would be, as a young person, going, you know what, they're making fun of me. I'm going to try to do it the way they're doing it. You didn't change.
I didn't have the strength to do that. I was so skinny that I was doing it out of desperation, because I was doing this technique where when the Dogtown crew and the people of the late 70s, when they would do aerials out of pools, they would reach down and grab their board before they got to the top, and then just kind of muscle it into the air, and it was just more like a hop. And what I developed is doing an ollie near the top and then launching myself into the air and then grabbing my board at the apex. And the reason I did that is because I didn't have the strength to muscle myself into the air. So I had to launch, and that became the way to do it because you could get way higher that way. You don't kill your speed by reaching down for your board before you leave the pool.
And this is also the predecessor to, do you snowboard?
Yeah.
And skateboard would be the predecessor. There wasn't snowboarding at the time.
No.
So, and all those tricks and all those, the ollies and all that is the same terminology that they're using in.
Yeah, snowboarding's kind of taken on a life of its own because now it's a lot of gymnastics type of moves and double cork flips and things like that.
And you don't do that in skateboarding?
We do a bit of that, but it's just different. It's just a different plane, and you're attached to the board, so the ollie is sort of is redundant.
And I find this fascinating that you started doing this as a kid for transportation. You created a style, and now this style is what is looked upon as professionally. I mean, I watched it in the Olympics
for the first time, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, you're still a young guy. I mean, in your life, from 10 years old to 53, you're watching something that you did. Your brother takes you to a park. I go, oh, that's kind of cool. And because you did it, because I believe that you are a leader of this sport. Not only are you well known, thank you. I had a skateboard when I was a little kid, but nothing I did was going to lead to changing the world. I'm older than you. I'm a decade older than you, and I had a shitty wooden flat. I think I had a 2x4 with some wheels from
from roller skates. Yeah, I mean, that's.
It was the same with the roller skate. That's what I had them, and that's how I used to go to my friend's house when I didn't want to take my bike. But you tried this thing out, and now the world is watching it. Look who's here. Do you know this guy?
It's Theo.
Hey.
Do you know Theo Vaughn?
I do. I just got to. I had the honor of doing his show recently.
Wait, is this real? You're just coming in here to take measurements?
Theo Vaughn.
Yeah.
He comes in to measure.
You guys go ahead. Don't mind us.
No, you want to. Before you measure this, why don't you measure bone and cock?
Measure bone and cock.
Measure the room.
He's measuring the room now?
He didn't tell him that.
Hold it real fast. He didn't tell me you guys were in.
We're doing I'm right in the middle of
an interview.
Are you buying carpet for me?